Imagine a world where your smartphone screen is completely seamless. No notch, no cutouts, just pure, uninterrupted glass. For over a decade, this has been the holy grail for Apple fans. We have been dreaming of the day the iPhone finally becomes a single slab of magic. But as we pull back the curtain on the iPhone 18 Pro, the rumors are taking a turn that absolutely no one expected. Is Apple about to copy its biggest rivals, or are they doubling down on the most controversial design choice in recent history? The answer isn't just about a camera hole. It is about the very soul of the iPhone and how Apple plans to stay relevant in a world where every phone looks the same. Right now, we are in the middle of a massive civil war in the tech community. If you spend 5 minutes on tech Twitter or Reddit, you will see that nobody agrees on anything. Depending on which report you trust, Apple is either about to completely reinvent the front of the iPhone, or they are just moving a few pixels around and calling it a day. This is peak rumor season energy. We are at the point where people are literally arguing over millimeters of black pixels. But why does it matter so much? Because the front of the iPhone is your window to the digital world. It is the most important piece of real estate on any gadget you own. The confusion starts with 3 main parts: the under-display Face ID, the selfie camera, and the fate of the dynamic island. For years, we have been told that everything would eventually hide under the screen. We thought the island was just a temporary fix. But new leaks suggest that the transition might be much messier and more interesting than we thought. One of the most shocking claims comes from leaker John Prosser. He suggests that Apple might actually move the front camera to the top left corner of the display. This would be a massive departure from the centered design Apple has used since the original iPhone. In this version of the future, the dynamic island wouldn't sit in the middle anymore. It would essentially fly out diagonally from the corner whenever you get a notification. Imagine your music controls or your Uber arrival alert sliding out from the top left corner. It sounds futuristic and dramatic on paper, but there is a huge problem with this theory. If Apple moves the camera to the corner, the iPhone starts to look like every other Android phone. Whether it is a Pixel or a Galaxy, the corner hole punch is a standard look. And if there is one thing we know about Apple, it's that they are absolutely allergic to blending in. Apple wants you to be able to spot an iPhone from across a crowded room. Even in a blurry photo, that centered cutout tells the world exactly what phone you are holding. This is why many experts are skeptical of the corner camera theory. Instead, a much more Apple-like consensus is starting to form. This consensus is backed by Ross Young. If you don't know Ross, he is a display industry analyst who is annoyingly accurate. He doesn't guess based on vibes. He tracks what the factories are actually building. And his report says that the dynamic island isn't going anywhere yet. Instead, it is going through a massive shrink-ray treatment. To understand why the island is shrinking instead of disappearing, we have to look at the science of Face ID. A lot of people think Face ID is just one little camera. In reality, it is a complex collection of high-tech parts. You have the dot projector, the infrared camera, and the infrared flood illuminator. According to the latest supply chain chatter from South Korea, only the flood illuminator is currently small enough to be hidden perfectly under the display. The other parts, like the main selfie camera and the dot projector, still need a clear, physical opening to work correctly. This is the aha moment for the rumors. The reports about a top left component weren't necessarily wrong, they were just misunderstood. It turns out Apple might be moving just one part of the Face ID system to the corner under the glass. By moving the flood illuminator away from the center, they free up space in the middle. This allows them to make the central cutout much smaller. We are hearing from leakers like Ice Universe that the new dynamic island could be 35% narrower. It would go from about 21 millimeters wide to just 13 millimeters. That is a huge difference. It would look like a small, elegant pill floating at the top of your screen. This fits the Apple pattern perfectly. Think back to the iPhone X. It had a massive notch. Then with the iPhone 13, they made the notch slightly smaller. Only after they perfected that did they move to the dynamic island on the iPhone 14 Pro. Apple loves incremental steps. They don't like to shock the user base. They want to train your eyes to get used to smaller and smaller obstructions until, one day, the obstruction is gone entirely. By shrinking the island for the iPhone 18 Pro, They are giving us more screen space without losing the dynamic island brand that they have spent millions of dollars marketing. Let's talk about that branding for a second. The dynamic island isn't just a hole in the screen. It is a user interface. It is where your timers live, where your music is controlled, and where your Face ID animations happen. If Apple just deleted it and replaced it with a tiny hole, they would lose one of their biggest software differentiators. Right now, the island is a feature. If they move to a standard hole punch, it just becomes a spec. Apple doesn't want to compete on specs. They want to compete on experience. However, there is a lot of room for improvement. If they are redesigning the island to be smaller, they have a chance to fix the things that actually annoy us. For example, have you ever noticed that when the island expands, your signal bars disappear? You lose the 5G or LTE label and you're left guessing if you actually have a good connection. A smaller, more efficient island could prioritize this information better. We want a design that doesn't just look cool, but actually makes the phone easier to use. Beyond the screen, the iPhone 18 Pro is rumored to be a beast in other areas too. We are looking at a potential variable aperture camera system. This would allow the phone to physically change the lens opening, just like a professional DSLR camera. This would mean incredible natural blur in portraits and much better performance in tricky lighting. We are also expecting the A20 Pro chip, which will likely be built on a 2nm process. This means more power and much better battery life. There are even rumors of a simplified camera control button that uses capacitive touch to give you even more control over your shots. But at the end of the day, the design is what will make people upgrade. People want to feel like they have something new. A smaller, centered, highly functional dynamic island is the perfect middle ground. It keeps the iPhone looking like an iPhone, but it feels like a major leap forward in technology. It shows that Apple is mastering the art of hiding sensors under the glass without sacrificing the security of Face ID. So, what is the bottom line? Don't expect a completely invisible camera just yet. The technology is getting close, but Apple is not ready to compromise on photo quality or Face ID speed. Instead, expect a refined future. A future where the screen feels bigger, the bezels feel thinner, and the tech at the top of the screen becomes a tiny, helpful assistant rather than a big distraction. This is the iPhone 18 Pro design shift that caught everyone off guard because it's not a radical departure, it's a surgical refinement. It is Apple doing what they do best, taking an existing idea and polishing it until it shines. We will likely see the official reveal in September, potentially alongside a new Ultra model, or a more affordable slim iPhone as part of a new launch strategy. Until then, the rumors will keep flying. We will see more leaked photos and more conflicting reports. But if you follow the logic of Apple's history, the shrinking island is the bet to make. It is the most logical, most stylish, and most Apple way to move forward. If you like the video, subscribe, share the video, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update on the future of the iPhone. Let me know in the comments. Do you want the island to stay, or are you ready for it to disappear completely?